Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about liability. So, I know you're probably thinking, what makes me want to do a video about liability? And is this going to be about like finances or something like that? Believe it or not, this is going to be about relationships. No, I'm not a relationship expert. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, whatever it is that God put on my heart for me to talk about today. And also, I took notes because I listened to a sermon and I also listened to a course. And the course is about bettering yourself and being ready for whenever you eventually start to meet people and stuff like that. So, preparing yourself in your single season while you are trying to do the best that you can, while you're trying to be better, whatever it is that you're doing, while you're trying to become more mature, to have more patience, while you're trying to learn new courses, new skills, while you're growing and developing and evolving yourself by life lessons, by the fact that you just want to learn more because the people perish for a lack of knowledge. And I don't want to be that type of person. I want to make sure that I'm always soaking in as much information as I possibly can so that I can be the best, well-rounded version of myself. And the thing that helps me the most is a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm comparing against this person. I want to be like this," or, this person has this, I don't have this. I like to think of it as this person has this, I want this, I'm praying for it. If it's for me, God is going to give it to me. And I'm going to use it as a motivation to get there. When I think about being a better version of myself, I am my only competition because I can't be like anybody else. Nobody's better at being me than me. I heard that from someone, but it's so true. And also, I could never, no matter how much I try to imitate someone else's behavior, no matter how much I try to change who I am, no matter how much I change my hair, my eyelashes, my eyebrows, my nose, my mouth, my teeth, my whatever it is on me, I will never become someone else. I will always be who I am. And so I think it's really important for us to understand who we are. And as I was listening to preparing for, when you are walking into your purpose, preparing for when you are getting ready for dating or relationships or, just maximizing your single season. And when I was listening to the sermon about, just being mature in any relationship. This doesn't just have to be romantic. It could be a spiritual relationship, that you have. You want to make sure that your temper is not just short. You don't want to be short tempered in any areas, especially if you're trying to walk like Jesus. If you're trying to be Christ like, you definitely have to work on patience because Christ was patient. And so for me, I know there's things that I always wanted to try to become better at. And one of my things is patience, which I feel like I'm learning a little more. Sometimes I get into like these moods where someone will say something to try me and I'll catch myself. And before I would be like, oh, but I shouldn't even have a moment like that. The fact that I have the patience, a patience enough or enough self-awareness to notice that that's the point where I would say something is growth. And so I'm going to take the win where I can because it's too many people in the world already trying to give me a L before I even start. A loss, but for me it's a lesson because I really truly feel like in life when God is giving you a test, when you're being tested, when you're being tried, when you are going through trials and tribulations, it's to grow you or it's used to stop whatever it is in your life. And if God put it on your heart to do it, it's used to grow you because that's the area of your life that you're weak in. And sometimes we say, God, give me patience, give me strength. And God will give you patience and strength, but you're going to be tried to get it because you can't just learn that from a book. You have to learn it from real life experiences. I could have people really try me in life. And the fact that I can catch myself, the fact that I can actually be emotionally intelligent enough to stop, take a pause, to really think about what it is that I want to say, to really think about if this person is really like has something against me or is this something that they're going through in their life? Do they even know me enough to even have a problem with me? Those are things that I really think about. Those are things that really, really make me consider, okay, this is not my fight. And it's nothing worse than going into a fight that God never intended for you to be in your life in the first place. So, as I was listening to the sermon, I might have to pause. Hold on one second. Sorry, I thought someone who was here, they should be here soon, but I wanted to make sure I did this because I have a little bit of time and I still have to eat dinner. And I gotta take a shower and get ready for work because I have to go in the office tomorrow. So I'm trying to make sure I use this time wisely. I finished the things that I had to do when I got home. So this is like a little bit of allotted time that I have. So I'm trying to make sure, and I'm not trying to rush this. I want to be intentional with my purpose. I want to make sure that I'm pouring into others and I'm really speaking life. I don't want to just do this as a rush thing, like, oh, I have to do it. I want whatever I'm saying to hold weight. I want it to be wisdom that God has placed upon my heart to say. I really want it to be intended on whatever it is that God sees fit. I don't want it to be about me. I don't want it to be about just rushing because we know that rushing is the adversary, and I don't want anybody to miss something because I'm speeding through it because I don't have that much time. And so, as I listened to the sermon earlier today, the pastor said this, and this is what made me title this Liability. He said, Whew, he said, you cannot treat a relationship casually because it is either an asset or a liability. Mm, 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 mm. When he said that, that's so true. Because when you have a relationship with someone, whether it's romantic, whether it's a friendship, whether it's work, whether it's whatever it is in your life, that person is either an asset or a liability to you. Are they benefiting your life? Is it what fruit do you gain from having this friendship, this relationship, this romantic partner? If you are willing to say nothing at all, that's a liability because it's not pushing you forward. Also, we need to make sure that we put people in the right positions that they should be in. This is what the pastor also talked about. And what he said was, I'm going to read this word for word because I don't want to miss anything. And when I heard this, I was like, we need to first determine if they're an asset or a liability for sure. Because you know when something bears fruit in your life and when it doesn't. When something's draining you, that's a liability. When something's stopping you, stunting your growth, when something's making you insecure, when somebody is pulling more from you than you are able to give them and you feel like you're empty at the end of the day, that's a liability. When someone is putting so much on you that it is literally it's messing with your mental health. It's messing with your schedule. It's messing with your priorities. All of a sudden, this person is the top priority when you are the number one priority. That is a liability. When someone is an asset, it's bearing fruit. They're pouring into you. You're pouring into each other. It's a give and take. It's reciprocity. And reciprocity doesn't always look the same as an example that someone gave you in a relationship example. It could look like you being the person who's pouring as well. Okay, so the person was here, so I had to go open the door. But all right. So what the pastor said was, I can't wait on you to place yourself where you should be in my life. I had to make that choice for you. I changed the last part because I heard it, but then I was like, "Ooh, I should say I have to make that choice for myself." Because if you're sitting around waiting for somebody to determine what part of your life they want you in, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, whatever else, like you guys are kind of friends, like you call them your friend, but they call you an acquaintance or something, or you're always doing something for this friend, but they barely do anything for you because it's a one-sided friendship. You're working, you're thinking you have all of these work, professional relationships, and you are, pouring into it, and they are just taking and taking from you. That's you have to make the choice for where this romantic person, friend, family member, whoever it is, should be placed in your life. Not everybody deserves a seat at the table. And I don't mean a seat at the table like in a Jesus way. I mean like for them to be in your house, at your front door. Not everybody deserves that access to you. And you have to be able to set those standards, those healthy standards and boundaries for yourself. Because if you keep allowing everyone in, it's going to drain you. Not only is it going to drain you, but you're going to be disappointed because you want them to be doing certain things. If you call them a friend, you're going to want them to be like a friend. They might not be a friend to you. They might just be somebody that you know who you just have an occasional conversation with. That's fine. They might not be a romantic partner to you. They might be somebody that you work with in business. They might be somebody that God needed you to meet so that you can learn a lesson, so that you can use it for the relationship that He really has for you. You really have to determine, because if you keep on waiting around for these people to place you in a position in their life, you're going to be wasting your time. You can't keep waiting around for that guy to ask you to marry him, that when you know that he probably should have known within the first year. And I'm not saying that you guys are going to get married in the first year. I'm just saying that he would know if you were wife potential, possibly. What I'm thinking. Like, he would know that you had the possibility of becoming a wife. And he would treat you as such. He wouldn't just treat you like an option. He wouldn't just treat you as somebody that he doesn't want. He wouldn't just treat you like, oh, I always have time. It doesn't matter. I could just drag my feet. He wouldn't just be sitting there and you're thinking you're in a relationship and he's saying, oh, yeah, she's just a friend. Or, or even the girl. You can be talking to this girl, putting all this time and effort in, you talking, y'all are friends, y'all are cool. And you're like, yeah, this is my girl. And she's like, oh, this is my friend. You spent so much time spending money, spending time, turning down other women, or maybe you had other women, but you was like, this is the one right here. And the whole time she thinks you're a friend. You did all of that for nothing. You wasted all this time instead of placing her in the position that she was supposed to be in, instead of placing him in the position that he was supposed to be in. People could really waste your time if you let them. If you give somebody that space in your life, if you place them in a position like, oh, this is husband material, this is wife material, and they are not giving you the same energy, you're wasting your time. Like, they need to at least be showing some kind of interest or something, so you can at least feel like it's valid putting them in that position in your life. Because if not, they don't deserve to be in that position. If you're friends with somebody, like I said, and you think y'all are best friends and they just think y'all are acquaintances, or you're people that know each other or know of each other, or yeah, I seen that person one time at such and such place, I don't really know her like that. Like, be careful who you call your friend, because the Bible says that the best place for someone to be in your life is a friend. Like, the best person to have in your life is a friend. So make sure that that person is somebody who really truly is a friend to you, really truly deserves to be in that position in your life, because you have to make that decision for yourself. You can't allow somebody else to make that decision for you, because it's your decision to make. This is your life, and it is not a joke. We literally stress ourselves out and literally mentally drain ourselves, giving all of this energy to somebody who doesn't deserve it. If you know the person hasn't put forth any effort in your friendship, in your relationship, whatever else, they just kind of are fly by night. They really breadcrumb. They really just barely do anything. They give you the bare minimum. That person doesn't deserve that position in your life. You can't give them a position they haven't earned. You just can't. We keep on trying to make up these excuses and we have these fantasies in our head, and we just, really feel like this person should be here. What have they done for you lately? What have they done to prove that they even deserve to be around you, let alone be in that position? If they are draining you, if they're making you feel insecure, if it's one-sided in any type of relationship that is, then they don't deserve that position in your life. And I know it sounds like so harsh, but your mental health is so much more important than anything else. People keep playing about this mental health thing and really trying to make it seem like, oh no, I can handle it. Listen, you don't get an award for trying to pretend how that you are super strong, how strong you could possibly be, and how much you can tolerate. That does not make you strong. You, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If you're the type of girl that keeps on giving these guys chances who give you the bare minimum, they're going to always not be enough. They're going to always not do what they need to do. They're going to always breadcrumb you. They're going to always not be about that life. Nothing is going to change in that situation, because it's the same person, different name. So if you want something different, you got to do something different. In relationships, at work, with your friendships, everything. Because you are the most important. And when I heard this is the first time that it really dawned on me. Like I heard this, I hear people say cliches, and this is what I mean about really learning the definition of things, really understanding what a true definition of a word means, and not just the first page of Google, or not just, and I got that from TG, but not just that, not just, you hear a word when you're growing up, not just something that you see sometimes and you just assume that's what it means. That's why I really think it's important to understand what this really means. Like, what is the root word? What is the true definition? What does it really, really mean? Because because while you're thinking that this is, you know, what is important about mental health, and you're like, oh, mental health is such and such. You don't know what mental health is. Or just like you think, oh, loving yourself. Like I would hear loving yourself and I'm like, okay, self-care, pouring into myself, doing things like that. But loving yourself is also setting healthy standards and boundaries. I know what that is, but when you truly understand what it means to love yourself, if you really truly love yourself, some things you just don't tolerate, because you have to have the idea. This is what really made me think of it. Because when they said, you have to think of what position they're in, it made me think of some things that you just don't tolerate, because you have to love yourself more than you like that person. You have to love yourself more than you like that job. You have to love yourself more than you want that friendship. Whatever it is in your life, whatever position you decide to place them in, you have to know that regardless of how fine they are, regardless of how much good game they talk, regardless of what everybody else's opinion is of that person, regardless of the 401k and all of the benefits that you get from this job, regardless of if your friendship opens so many doors for you, not every door is going to lead to heaven. Okay, so be careful where you enter, and make sure that if God closes the door, you stay out there until God opens it for you, because you might still be preparing. You might still have some things that you have to break off of you before you can walk through that door, before you can go into that place, before you can advance into this level. And it's levels to this. Like, getting saved is like, okay, you're saved. You go to church. That's good. But I don't want to just get saved, and I don't want to just go to church or do Bible study. I want a personal relationship with God. And it's levels to it. God's not just going to say, oh, I trust you just because you rededicated your life to me, or because you said, you believe in Jesus. He he wants intentionality from me. He wants me to seek him above everything else, no matter how appetizing anything looks in my life. It can never be more important than God. It cannot take the place of God. I can't idolize anything before God. So when you truly love yourself, and I hope you really seek to understand what loving yourself really is, and not just a couple self-care dates or a couple me dates or some personal care. Like, yes, that is a part of loving yourself, taking care of yourself. But when you truly love yourself, there's just some things you can't settle for anymore. Those, and I don't want to say they're beneath you, because we are all children of God. We are all on the same level. If we all decide to give our life to God, we have the same level. But when you deserve better. You know when God has better for you, especially if God is like, I could give you this. Especially if you feel like you're settling for whatever God, job, friendship it is that you have in your life. You really have to know what loving yourself truly is. It is. It's not about being selfish and putting yourself before everybody else. Like, and I mean in the most selfish way. I don't mean like you have a personal care thing that you have to do because you feel empty and you need to pour into yourself so you can help other people. That's not that type of selfishness. That's the right type of selfishness. What I mean is, and I have to say it like this because I do think that you should place yourself first. I know it sounds like a contradiction. I'm talking like, the Bible talk sometimes, but I have a point, I promise. And so so you putting yourself first means you putting your self-care first, your self-love first. You loving yourself so you can pour into other people. It doesn't mean being completely selfish and being like, I have a car, I don't need to give anybody a ride. I have money, I'm not worried about this other person. I have money, I'm never going to tithe or do offering, whatever else it is. Like, that's the type of difference that I mean. And so when you pour into yourself, it'll help you pour into other people. I don't mean you're doing it from a negative standpoint where you just are constantly thinking me, and nobody else. I mean from a point where You are pouring enough into yourself, where you're loving yourself enough to know that, hey, I deserve better than this. Hey, I really, truly, in order for me to love myself, I feel like this is something that I tell myself that I think might help you. I know. But I tell myself, I feel like if I really care about the other person that much, if I really like this person, they deserve so much more than the lesser version of me. If I'm not loving myself, I'm not giving them the best version of myself. I'm giving them a mediocre version of who I am. And they deserve better than that. So I have no choice but to walk away. I have no choice but to choose me, loving myself over being treated, getting the bare minimum, over being breadcrumbed, over whatever other terminology that people use now. You know, I really deserve whatever it is that God has for me. Whatever it is that he wants to give me in an appointed time is what I deserve in my life. Nothing more, nothing less. And I did not. Earlier today, I had this moment. I don't know if I'm going to say this, but when God brings you through so much in life, settling for something that when you know that you deserve better seems like it's not even an option. Like you might consider it, you might do some things like be like, oh, well, maybe it's not that bad. You might make excuses, whatever else. But deep down, you know that you made it way too far to turn back. You know that after you have went through so much in your life, you just don't ever want to go through another situation like that. And in order to do that, you have to truly love yourself in the next situation. You have to truly be willing to walk away. You have to be truly willing to put your foot down, regardless of how the other person feels. Am I saying that you neglect their feelings all the way and you don't care about how they feel? No. But if you know something is wrong, you need to stand true to yourself. Stand firm on what it is that you truly believe in. If you're, let's say for example, your thing is smoking. You don't want anybody that smokes. You meet this person who is a smoker. They smoke once a week or something. And they're not like a pack a day or anything like that, but smoking is not your thing. You cannot say, all right, this seems like a decent person. Let me go ahead and just be okay with this. I hate the smell of it. It makes me sick to my stomach. It's going to be in the house, it's in the car, it's in their clothes. I can't even lay on their shoulder without smelling this disgusting smell or whatever it is your thing is. And you're feeling like, okay, well, maybe if I compromise here. Don't compromise your integrity for any person, ever. Don't compromise your dignity, self-respect, and honor for any person. Because you disrespecting yourself, dishonoring yourself is you dishonoring God. And I don't mean with the smoking thing, I mean in general. When you start to lay down for somebody, when you really lay down and you don't stand up for yourself, everything that you were supposed to dodge that you can like bend under and like move around and dive and you can do all of these different trick moves like on Madden or something, like all of these spins and things and dives and hurdle jumps and all these things that you can do to avoid the things that's coming at you. They're all going to hit you because you're staying in one position. You're too low to even see what's happening. You're too low to even get the things that God's trying to bless you with. You're going to miss out on so many opportunities. An opportunity for the real job that God had for you. An opportunity for the real friendship that could have benefited you. An opportunity for the real relationship that would give you the things that you need and not just what you want. So in conclusion, when it comes to any type of relationship, work, romantic, friendship, make sure that you determine if it's a liability or an asset. Make sure that you know what it is that you truly want and what you don't want in your life. Because if you have a goal in mind, nobody can sway your decision. No one can make you want something differently. You will know who you are. You will know what you want. And you have to love yourself more than you like any position, friendship, or person ever. Because if you don't truly love yourself, you will never be able to stand up for yourself. You will never be able to have real healthy standards and boundaries. And you'll never be able to get rid of the riffraff before the real thing comes in. Like the only thing that's going to be coming to you is the things that you allow to be a part of your life. And you have to set aside and determine where this person needs to be placed in my life. Don't just put them in the king position when they're not even a king. Like, they can't be there. They can't be your leader if they're not intended for you, if they're not appointed for you, if they're not graced for you. So why try to put them in a position that they were never graced for? Or try to put yourself in a position that you were never graced for? The person that may be for them may be grace for them. You trying to make that person fit into a place where they don't belong is only going to wreak havoc on your life. It's going to leave you stressed. It's going to leave you insecure. Because for me, without me having God's blessing, I totally feel insecure with any person that I'm with. I don't ever feel like content in the situation because I always feel like until God says, hey, this person right here, this person right here, you know, I got this guy. Until God like drops one of them, I'm really just like, I don't know where you belong in my life right now. Like, I don't know if you belong in this position. So until God gives me an okay, I'm not moving forward with anybody. I can't be in a relationship. You're not getting anything. You don't get any relationship benefits, whatever that means. And I feel like me saying that people just jumped the gun and just went into whatever it is in their head. I just mean like, you might know my name. You might know one or two things that I like, but you will never truly get to know me because I'm not divulging that type of information to some person who's not intentional with me. I'm not going to allow you to know any part of me unless you're really being intentional. I just can't. I work way too hard to be a little vulnerable to allow just any person into that space. So it needs to be somebody that's really truly intentional. Somebody that God truly is like, either God told that person or God's telling me, hey, it's okay. Other than that, no. I went about it my way before, and it was, if I could describe, and I don't want to put the situation down, but it was not good at all. It just, without God, it just is desolate. It really does not matter at all. Without God's approval, without God in it, it's not even a relationship. It's a battlefield, like a real battlefield. And we're, instead of being on the same team, we're opponents. That's how it feels without God in it. And I don't want anything like that. Not a job, not a friendship, and not a romantic person. Ever. At all. Not even a little bit. So I hope that you truly love yourself. And when you determine whether it's a liability or an asset, you know that you deserve what God has for you. That you don't just settle just because the world is telling you, or other friends or other family members are telling you that, oh yeah, just give this person a chance. Oh, they truly deserve this chance. What have they done to deserve this chance? Because if your answer is nothing, then you know it's a liability, not an asset. What fruit have you gotten from this friendship, relationship, job? If your answer is nothing, and I don't mean lessons that God's taught you. That's different than fruit that it bears. You'll notice that you want to be a better person. You'll notice that it'll benefit you in some way. It's not just like you're going to be super stressed out and insecure the whole time. It's like these will be lessons that you will learn that will help advance you into whatever level God is taking you to. That's how you truly know if it's fruitful. So make sure you are seeking God, because He will lead you the right way. You don't have to worry about second guessing or trying to figure out if this is or isn't or whatever else. Like, God might not give you an answer, but his non-answer is a no for now. It might be a no indefinitely, but you need to move like it's a no and just continue on seeking Him, being in your purpose, and continuing to just live your life to the best of your ability, because you can decide who needs to be in what position in your life.